Hi everyone, good afternoon. Thank you so much for being here. We're ready and we're going to begin our program briefly. So I just want to ask our speakers, if you're speaking today, please join me here to the left, over here. Buenos días, gracias por estar aquí. Vamos a empezar, solamente quiero pedir a los que van a dar un comentario hoy, hablar aquí en el podio, que se pongan aquí a mi lado izquierdo. Muchas gracias. Y también tenemos letreros, si les gusta tomar uno, por favor siéntanse libres de hacerlo. Y luego también quédense después del programa porque vamos a tener fotos, ¿ok? Okay, so thank you everybody, and we're gonna begin our program officially. Thank you for being here. With that, I'll welcome Senator Lina Gonzalez, author for SB 616.
All right, thank you so much. Well, actually, I'm going to ask you to hold that applause because this shouldn't be for me. Let's first give it up for our California workforce. Let's give it up at all the trabajadores. Let's give them a big applause. Because as we've mentioned many, many times, California is said to be the fourth largest economy. We talk about that a lot. We are the fourth largest economy, and that is a great talking point. But that is solely because of our hardworking California workforce that have been working so very hard, showing up every single day, making our economy successful, holding down families, taking care of extended family, what have you, and still fighting in California to fight for basics like paid sick leave, if you can imagine that, in the most successful state in the nation, California. As many times you talk about California being a leader, yes, we're a leader in a lot of different ways, but this is one area, paid sick leave, where we're actually trailing behind many other states. And I thank the cities and jurisdictions that have had paid sick leave policies on the books far beyond 3 days, but 3 days is not sufficient, as we know. Our janitors, our fast food workers, our cashiers, child care givers, our transportation workforce, including rail workers and truck drivers, just like my dad, who've bravely fought at the national level for leave, have done so in a time where we should have learned more. We should have known better. A time when a pandemic hit so many of our valued essential workers the most. Expanding paid sick leave from 3 days to 7 days and 7 days unpaid leave for rail employees is the right thing to do. Is it the right thing to do? Yes, in the largest economy in California, because we know that working sick costs the national economy $234 billion annually in productivity, in lost productivity. Providing paid sick days could save employers up to $1.8 billion each year through fewer absences from a reduced spread of flu-like illnesses alone. And we know that, again, so many jurisdictions have done this. In fact, San Francisco employers that offer well beyond 3 days, more than 85% of them did not report negative effects on profits due to the city's 2007 paid sick time law. And a year after Jersey City and New Jersey paid sick time law took effect, over 40% of employers that changed their policies to comply credited the law for increased productivity, higher quality new hires, and reduced turnover, all of which lead to cost savings or increased revenue for businesses. So when businesses, many of the large businesses that tell us that paid sick leave is not a policy that we should expand, let's give them the data, because this is not true that it actually loses businesses and that we're actually losing productivity. In fact, it's the opposite. And during the pandemic, California lost 2.6 million jobs, twice as many as the state lost over 31 months due to the Great Recession. But this was because of inflation, a lot of different issues. Whopping almost $7 in the past year for gas prices, egg prices, as we know, over 70% over the last year. And for those without paid sick days, missing 3.5 days of work equates to losing an entire family's monthly grocery budget. And this disadvantages in service sectors this disadvantages those in service sector jobs traditionally dominated by women and Latinos, including childcare providers and janitorial, retail, food service, and hospitality workers. And this is why it's also one of our Latino caucus's priority bills. So again, I want to thank many of the jurisdictions that are doing the good work already. Los Angeles, San Francisco, San Diego. We had COVID paid sick leave last year up to 10 days, and then we just fell off of a cliff. And then the national government and everyone told us, you know what, we're good. 3 days is sufficient. But we're here to say 3 days is not sufficient. We need 7 days. We need unpaid sick days for our rail workers, and we're going to fight to the end to make sure that happens. Are we not? All right. And I have to share a story with you as the daughter of a truck driver, a Teamster who worked over 40 years in the transportation sector. He just shared with me today that before 2014, he was fighting for just 2 paid sick days with his contract. Just 2 before 2014, before we enacted 3 paid sick days. And he wasn't able to get that. So if we think that businesses will just do this on their own, we're wrong, unfortunately. Some of them have done the good work, and we want to thank them as well for doing the good work, but many of them may not. So this is why we have this law. SB 616 has to be on the books. We have to keep fighting, and we have to push and ensure that our federal government is doing the right thing as well. So with that, I want to pass it on to my colleague who is here and always in the fight for what is right and righteous, Assemblymember Wendy Carrillo. She not here? Okay, we'll put her to the end. Then we have Catherine Cobb, President of Teamsters Local 2010. Come on up. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Catherine Cobb, President of Teamsters Local 2010, where we represent hardworking sisters and brothers at the UC and CSU system. However, I'm here today on behalf of Teamsters in California to let you know that we strongly support Senate Bill 616. At Local 2010, our members have sick leave because the union has negotiated good sick leave policy for our workers. But not everyone is lucky enough to have the same benefits that we do. We have to demand that employers in this state do better. Sick leave is a human right. And I think that the recent COVID pandemic highlighted just how important it is for all workers to have the ability to paid sick leave. During the pandemic, the legislature passed an emergency paid sick leave bill and required that workers had access to 10 paid sick days. Now we know how effective that was. Researchers say emergency sick leave prevented an estimated 400 positive COVID-19 cases per day. But all of these emergency requirements are now gone, and most workers are left with only 3 paid sick days. This is now a real safety net anymore. 3 paid sick days wouldn't cover you if you caught COVID, you had the flu, RSV, or anything that would last a week or more. No one should have to be in a position to go to work sick or not making enough rent, not feeding their families, or even risk losing their job. It's way past time. California guaranteed 7 paid sick days for all workers. We can do better, and we will do better for ourselves, our families, and our communities by passing Senate Bill 616 because sick leave is a human right. Thank you. All right. I want to make sure that you all see this, okay? And so now I believe that Andrea Soto, hostess at Denny's California Adventure and member of United Food and Commercial Workers, Local 324. Okay?
Thank you. I'm Adriana Soto, and I've worked at Disney California Adventure on Buena Vista Street, Hollywood, for 11 years as a merchandise hostess. And I am a proud member of the United Food and Commercial Workers Local 324 in Orange County. I love working for Disney. I love making magic for our guests who come into the park excited to be there. But now my co-workers and I do not feel the same excitement when we show up for our shifts. In October 2022, Disney introduced a new attendance policy that penalizes and quickly puts us at risk for disciplinary measures if we call out sick. We can use paid sick time to offset missed hours, but once we use our paid sick time, we quickly accumulate hours. Every time we reach 25 missed hours, we receive a disciplinary action, and after 4 disciplinary actions, we would be subject to termination. Anyone who has gotten sick knows that we don't get sick for one day and that they are completely better. And children definitely don't get sick only 3 days a year. Cast members with chronic illnesses, children, or elderly family members are now more at risk of major disciplinary actions and even losing their job if they get sick more than permitted by Disney. I've had vertigo for over 7 years now, where I get really dizzy. I have to be really cautious and careful when lifting and turning my head, especially at work. And when episodes get really bad, I can't walk or even get up. And these episodes can last up to 3 days. One bad episode of vertigo can put me closer to disciplinary action and at risk of losing the job I love so much and not being able to afford rent or helping to take care of my grandchildren. SB 616 by Senator Gonzalez, who represents my UFCW 324 brothers and sisters in Long Beach, recognizes that 3 paid sick days isn't enough, raising it to 7 days. My co-workers are coming to work visibly sick now because of the new attendance policy, but they have to work because they have no sick time to stay home and want to keep their job. When you come to Disney, you should not have to worry that a cast member giving your child a balloon is sick. 7 days of state-mandated paid sick time will make an extraordinary difference in the lives of my fellow cast members and I. It's critical for the California legislature to pass SB 616 and ensure workers like myself can stay home when we're sick without having to worry about being disciplined, losing our job, or feeding our family. Thank you. Now it's Dr. Sharon Pham from California chapter of American Academy of Pediatrics.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Sharon Pham. I'm a pediatrician and also co-chair of the State Government Affairs Committee for the American Academy of Pediatrics, California. We represent thousands of California pediatricians speaking up for kids. Expanding paid sick leave will help families take care of their health. Children and adults should be able to stay home when they are sick, for their own health and for their classmates' health and their coworkers' health. I'm a hospital pediatrician, and I take care of kids with very serious illnesses. Kids who are sick need time to recover, and they need their parents with them. Anybody here who has young kids knows how tough the viral season has been these past 8 months. And kids have been sick a lot more than 3 days. When parents are unable to take time off to care for their children, they're twice as likely to send sick kids to school. When they're unable to take sick leave, then they're also 5 times as likely to have to take their child to an urgent care or emergency room in hope of a quick resolution or quick treatment. And unfortunately, I don't have something that's going to make their child magically well the next day. In the hospital, I've even had parents ask me to discharge their child before I think the child is ready, because their parent cannot afford to stay home any longer from work. And this really puts both the parents and the medical team in a hard place. Without a national standard for paid sick leave, it's often the lowest paid workers who have the least amount of paid leave, and this distribution is inequitable. Expanding California's paid sick leave standards will help parents care for their children when sick. Sick leave matters for kids, it matters for families, and pediatricians know that sick kids need their parents. Next, we'll have Jose Hernandez, from a fast food worker from Wendy's in Sacramento.
Mi nombre es José Hernández, trabajo en Wendy's, soy líder en la lucha por $15. En enero me dio una infección neuropática y me tuvieron que hospitalizar por 2 semanas. En total tuve que estar más de un mes fuera de mis 2 trabajos. En mi trabajo de janitor pertenezco a una unión, pero en Wendy's, como en toda comida rápida, no tenemos unión.
I'll be translating. All right. Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Jose Hernandez. I work at a Wendy's and I am a leader in the fight for 15 and a union. In January, I had to be hospitalized for 2 weeks because of a neuropathy infection. In total, I was out for more than a month for my 2 jobs, as a janitor and a fast food worker. As a janitor, I'm a part of a union. However, in fast food, workers do not have a union.
En el trabajo con unión me pagaron por todo el tiempo de enfermedad, pero en Wendy's, donde he trabajado por más de 24 años, solo tengo 3 días de enfermedad pagados y no quisieran darme más.
At my job with a union, I was able to secure paid sick leave for my entire time out as I recuperate. While at Wendy's, where I've worked for 24 years, I only got 3 days of paid sick leave, not nearly enough.
Fue fuerte estar fuera sin ese pago, pero pude sobrevivir y pagar la renta y comida con ahorros. Yo he visto cómo compañeros de comida rápida han tenido que ir al trabajo enfermos, porque si no, no tienen forma de pagar su renta o alimentar a sus familias.
It was hard to get by, but thankfully I was able to survive off my savings. I've seen firsthand how my coworkers in fast food are forced to work sick because they can't afford to miss work without pay.
Por eso es tan importante que apoyen a la SB 616. Estos 4 días más de enfermedad serían de mucha ayuda y alivio para nosotros de la industria de comida rápida.
This is why we need your support with SB 616. These 4 extra days of paid sick leave would bring much relief to us in the fast food industry.
No deberíamos tener que trabajar enfermos o utilizar todos nuestros ahorros para poder sobrevivir durante emergencias o tiempos de enfermedad.
We shouldn't have to work sick and expose others in order to survive while we're sick or during health scares like the one I had.
Yo me uno a los más de 500,000 de trabajadores en nuestra lucha por una unión para asegurar que las compañías nos traten mejor y que tengamos protecciones como días de enfermedad pagados.
I'm here today to fight not only for myself, but for the more than 500,000 fast food workers across the state who don't have a say in our workplace or a union to ensure rights like paid sick leave.
Pero en lo que llegue ese día necesitamos leyes como esta para asegurar que las compañías tomen nuestro bienestar en cuenta.
Until that day comes, we need laws like this one to hold companies responsible for caring about our well-being.
Sabemos que juntos podremos lograr grandes cambios para todos los trabajadores de California. Por favor, apoyen a la SB 616. Gracias.
Only by working together can we improve the lives of workers across California. Please support SB 616. Thank you. And now we're passing this over to Leonor Chihuahua.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Leonor Chihuahua. Trabajo en el Grow Apple Computing. Tengo 23 años en la industria laboral de janitor. Trabajo duro como conserje y limpiando edificios.
I will be translating. My name is Leonor Chihuahua, and I've worked at Apple in Elk Grove for 23 years as a janitor, and I am a proud member of SEIU USWW. I work hard as a janitor cleaning buildings.
Trabajamos toda la noche para asegurarnos de que estos espacios estén limpios, sanitarios y listos para el uso del público. Durante la pandemia de coronavirus Hemos trabajado esenciales manteniendo los edificios públicos limpios y desinfectados, incluso cuando eso significa aumentar nuestro propio riesgo de contraer el coronavirus. Muchos contratistas de limpieza no nos proporcionaron equipo de protección y siguieron otras medidas de seguridad exigidas por ley, pero aún tenemos que asegurarnos de que el edificio estuviera limpio y seguro para los demás durante el peor de la pandemia.
During the coronavirus pandemic, we were essential workers, keeping public buildings clean and sanitized, even when it meant increasing our own risk of getting COVID. Many janitorial contractors did not provide us with protective equipment or follow other safety measures required by law, but we still had to make sure the buildings were clean and safe for others during the worst of the pandemic.
Ahora que la ley de la licencia por enfermedad pagada por COVID ha expirado, mis compañeros de trabajo y yo tenemos 7 días de licencia por enfermedad y no son pagados. Pero aún podemos enfermarnos de COVID y así como a otras enfermedades. Si mis compañeros de trabajo y yo estamos enfermos, más allá de los 3 días que tenemos permitidos, tenemos que ir a trabajar o corremos el riesgo de perder nuestro trabajo. Si nuestros hijos están enfermos, más allá de 3 días que tenemos permitido, tenemos que ir a trabajar o correr el riesgo de perder nuestros trabajos.
Now that the COVID paid sick leave has expired, my coworkers and I only have 7 days of sick leave, but we can still get sick with COVID as well as other illnesses. If my coworkers and I are sick beyond the 3 days we're allowed, we must come to work sick if we want to keep our jobs. If our children are sick beyond the 3 days we're allowed, we must come to work or risk losing our jobs.
La ley de Senado 616 requerirá que compañías como la mía no permitan usar 7 días de licencia por enfermedad pagada sin perder salario o enfrentar represalias. Pido a los legisladores aprobar la SB 616 para que los trabajadores como yo ayudemos a mantener nuestros espacios públicos limpios y seguros durante la pandemia, podamos quedarnos en casa cuando estamos enfermos o cuidar a nuestros enfermos.
Senate Bill 616 would require companies like mine to allow us to use 7 days of paid sick leave without losing wages or facing retaliation. I ask elected officials to pass SB 616 so that workers like me who helped keep our public spaces clean and safe during the pandemic can stay home when we're sick of caring for a sick child.
Este proyecto significa que cuando usamos los días de enfermedad que hemos ganado, no tenemos que temer perder nuestro trabajo. Gracias y a tu apoyo. ¿Sí se puede? Sí se puede.
So this bill will mean that when we use the sick days we've earned, we don't have to fear for losing our jobs. Thank you for your support. Nina Willer Hartwell, PhD, Associate Director of Advocacy and Community Engagement at AARP, will speak next.
Good afternoon, everybody. Really delighted to be here today. I'm here on behalf of AARP California to express our strong support for SB 616. AARP California is a membership organization with 3.2 members alone just in California. Our members are 50 and older, and many still are working, like myself. Many are working while also juggling work and family caregiving for a parent, a sibling, or a child. Programs like California's paid sick leave are essential because they keep workers safe from illness at work, while also giving working family caregivers the paid time off they need to care for an ailing family member, such as a parent or a child. Paid sick leave also keeps workers from having to go to work while sick or lose pay altogether. So let's be honest, we've heard this today already. Our current paid sick leave law is absolutely inadequate. 3 days is not enough time to recover from an illness like the flu, even a bad cold or COVID-19. If workers have to return sick early, and again, we've already heard the personal stories today, they may pass this illness onto their coworkers or conversely run the risk of catching an illness from a coworker who did not have adequate time to recover. If they live in a multi-generational household, which is increasingly the situation for too many, or not too many, but many of California's workers, they also run the risk of passing an illness onto a family member who is disabled or elderly. In addition to protecting workers from illness, ARP views SB 616 as essential for family caregivers. Family caregivers are the backbone of our system of long-term supports and services. They are unsung heroes who support their aging or disabled family members by aiding them in dressing, bathing, transporting them to appointments, and helping them to cover the costs of home care or assisted living as examples. They do this at an enormous financial, physical, and emotional cost to themselves. ARP strongly supports SB 616 because of its benefits for working caregivers and their families. As I already noted, it helps to keep workers from having to choose between going to work sick or losing pay, and it keeps families and communities safe from transmissible illnesses. Please join ARP and all our partners today in expressing your support for SB 616, which will expand paid sick leave from 3 to 7 days. Thank you. And following me, I would like to introduce you to Luis Costa, and he is, I don't have his title right in front of me, but let's bring up Luis Costa. Thank you.
But good afternoon, everyone. My name is Louis Costa, and I'm the State Legislative Director for SMART Transportation Division. SMART is the Sheet Metal, Air, Rail, and Transportation Workers Union. We represent bus and transit operators, freight and passenger rail members, school bus drivers, as well as some bus mechanics. I'm here today to speak to the provisions of SB 616 that talk about rail workers and provide some needed relief for rail workers. Currently, rail workers have 0 paid sick days. 0 paid sick days. We saw it play out nationally last year with almost 2 national strikes for a push for paid sick days. It wasn't able to happen. A contract was forced on our members, and we're still working under 0 paid sick days. In the past couple of years, the railroads have implemented the most draconian attendance policies that the industry and our members have ever seen. These policies assess points to an individual for being ill, for being sick, for taking time off for that, and those points can accumulate towards discipline and or termination. We have had members lose their jobs because they were sick. It's unconscionable to think that they have to go through that. SB 616 will provide for unpaid sick days, and an important provision of that is that those days cannot be used for disciplinary purposes, to acquire points towards discipline or dismissal, to provide some relief for our members. When our members are sick, the first thing that pops in their mind isn't, I'm going to lose a day's pay. It's, how many points is this going to cost me, and is it going to put me into discipline, or is it going to put me into the course of the path of dismissal? That's the first thing that they think about. And then they have to decide whether they're going to go to work sick because they can't afford those points, or they're going to stay home and absorb that and have to deal with the disciplinary programs afterwards. That's just unconscionable that they have to go through that. SB 616 provides some relief. It gives them a little peace of mind to know that they can be sick, like everyone is, at some point in their lives or in their careers, and not have to worry about being disciplined for taking a sick day. You should not lose your job for taking a sick day. It's just unconscionable. So we appreciate Senator Gonzalez, Assemblymember Carrillo for including that language for our members. It's important for us. It's important for them. SB 616 is important for all workers in California. As I mentioned, we don't just represent rail workers. So it's an important piece of legislation. We're happy to contribute to getting it to the next step, getting it passed, getting it to the governor's office, and provided the needed protection for all workers in the state of California. Thank you very much.
All right, are we pumped up for paid sick leave? Yeah. All right, we're pumped up. So we're going to end here with my sister in the righteous fight always, as I mentioned, someone who has always been ensuring that our California workforce is always prioritize. And someone who represents East Los Angeles is also in the Latino caucus with me. We now call it the Latina caucus. But that is Assemblymember Wendy Carrillo.
Thank you. Tag team back again with my favorite senator, and I want to invite you, Senator, to stand alongside here with me, because I'm going to put your hand up. Okay. We have been in this fight for multiple years now, and it is only by working together in our bicameral legislative efforts that we're actually able to push strong policy forward. And so I'm so honored to be with you all here today. My name is Wendy Carrillo. I proudly represent the 52nd Assembly District, which includes the communities of Northeast LA, East LA, and the city of Glendale. A strong labor-focused district where many of our workers continue to face the challenges that we talk about in this building, but many experience from the bottom up. I'm a proud principal co-author of SB 616, which would secure additional guaranteed paid sick leave to protect families across California. As a safety net provision, additional guaranteed paid sick leave would provide a lifeline to millions of workers across the state, none of whom should miss out on a paycheck because they or a family member are in need of medical care. Over the last few years, amid the COVID-19 pandemic, we have seen the monumental and unprecedented challenges of working people, especially those that were and continue to be frontline and essential workers, those that did not have the opportunity to quarantine at home. We saw firsthand that the policies that we have in place simply have not worked. It is our goal to establish a California, if it is our goal, in fact, to establish a California for all, we must change and update policies that have not worked and that don't support the majority of working Californians and working people and working families across our state. We are proud that together we spearheaded a statewide policy that enacted paid COVID sick leave amid the pandemic, which ultimately saved countless lives and protected millions of California workers. We now get the opportunity to expand on that effort and ensure that we go much higher than we have been before. And if California is the fourth largest economy in the world, how is it that we're not protecting our workers when they're sick? That just doesn't make any sense. SB 616 is a step in the right direction and I am proud again to co-author it and ensure that working Californians across our state have the protections that they need to be able to be safe at home as they recover and seek medical attention. Buenos días, compañeros. Buenos días. O ya buenas tardes, ya buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Wendy Carrillo, orgullosamente represento el Distrito 52 en la Asamblea, que incluye las comunidades del noreste y el este de Los Ángeles y la ciudad de Glendale, y es un placer estar aquí con ustedes hoy. Me orgullece ser una de las coautoras principales de esta póliza de ley SB 616 que garantizaría días pagados de enfermedad adicionales que protegerán a nuestras familias trabajadoras a través del Estado. Días pagados de enfermedad adicionales salvarán las vidas de millones de trabajadores, ninguno de cuales deberían de perder un cheque porque ellos o un miembro de su familia necesitan atención médica. En los últimos años, a través de la pandemia, hemos visto los desafíos monumentales y precedentes de los trabajadores, especialmente aquellos que no pudieron quedarse en casa, pero que siguen siendo nuestros trabajadores esenciales y de primera línea. Si nuestro objetivo a través del Estado es establecer un Estado, un California para todos, debemos cambiar y actualizar las leyes y las pólizas que ya sabemos que no han funcionado. Tenemos una obligación y oportunidad de hacer algo nuevo después de la pandemia y sabemos que estos días pagados adicionales de enfermedad van a salvar las vidas de nuestros trabajadores y necesitamos apoyar pólizas que reflejan los valores de nuestro Estado. Me orgullece haber liderado las pólizas con mi compañera, la senadora Gonzalez, que al fin del día protegen a nuestros trabajadores, que durante la pandemia hicimos la posibilidad de tener días pagados por la pandemia y por el COVID-19, y ahora estamos en un nuevo día en nuestro estado donde reconocemos que las pólizas del pasado no han funcionado y tenemos una oportunidad de establecer algo nuevo. La ley SB 616 es un paso en la dirección correcta para proteger a nuestros trabajadores y familias a través del Estado. Muchas gracias. Thank you all very much. We're going to get it done? We're going to get it done? Because when we fight, that's right. Thank you, Senator, our champion.
Okay. All right, that concludes our amazing press conference. So I think we'll take a picture if everybody is ready to do that. And I thank our media for being here as well. But we'll go ahead and get a picture going. And thank you so much. We're going to make this happen. We've got a committee coming up, and we are going to show up. Thank you.